Well, hello and welcome to the Archershack Shop Talk number 155. I'm Jeremy,
I'm TJ.
and we've got a special guest,
Ryan.
Merritt.
That's right.
Y'all may already know Ryan Merritt. He is making stabilizers. He's been in some of our videos. His brother's Devin. Devin makes videos. He's been in some of those videos. He's a TikTok star. And we're going to talk about all kind of cool stuff. He's making stabilizers and all this stuff. So,
Do you claim Devin?
Depends. It depends.
Devin, we hadn't had Devin on here yet. He's going to be jealous.
Mm-hmm.
But let me think. We met Ryan and Devin a couple of years ago, I guess. Well, Ryan actually came in here, I think.
Yeah.
Way before Devin. And then Devin pops up on YouTube, I think. And somehow me and him started chatting. And then it went from there. It was around right after COVID, I guess.
Yeah.
Because Ryan's always shot, but Devin never really shot till like a couple of years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, I found y'all from the Black Eagle arrow test videos.
That's wild. People still show up and comment and all that and say, appreciate it, whatever, because nobody else, I don't know if they do now, but nobody else had that sort of stuff out. But so Ryan is a machinist by trade and has done that for quite some time and has started making stabilizers, and he's posted some of them. We've got some in here, or you brought some somewhere, didn't you?
Yeah, I do have some.
Hang on a minute,
outside.
we'll get some in a second, but we're gonna talk about those a little bit, and then talk about how he can customize them and this, that, and the other, and how to get them. I guess y'all pause for a second and let him grab a set, because I didn't even think to say, hey, bring one in here. So these jokers are, I'll do some close-up shots of them and put in right here, but like they're small diameter, they look good. The Ryan machines the end caps, and then each one comes with 3 ounces of weight.
Yep.
But I mean, you can obviously buy more.
Yeah.
I looked at the website the other night. You can, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but you can get silver or black end caps. You can get different colored bow jacks on it and different colored weights, which I think that's a good idea, because like I like the way you do, like on here you got 2 black and a red. Some people don't just want like all black or all whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of makes it pop. You know what I mean? These are what diameter?
Those are half-inch.
Half-inch diameter.
And that's the ultra high modulus carbon fiber. So it is
stiff.
It is extremely rigid.
What sizes do you do? Or I guess just tell them, like, here's what you can get.
So the way that I have it set up is from where it mounts to the riser to the end of 3 weights, because it seems like that's somewhat standard, what most people run. That's going to be the exact measurement. So a 12-inch stabilizer will be from where it mounts to the bow to the end of the stabilizer with three weights. The way I've got the website set up, it's priced per inch. That was the easiest way to do it, since really the biggest cost is the carbon itself.
Well, and I like that, because like some people want, like, hey, I want a 27 or 28 or a 34 or whatever, some weird number that normally you can't get. And then I like the way you, so in South Carolina, some of our rules for our archery tournaments around here say, especially for some of the bow hunter classes, like it cannot exceed X length from the base of the bow. So then, like, if you buy, say, a 12-inch and then add weights, it's like, ooh, we're over the limit. Yeah. But this way, it's like, okay, we're safe.
Yeah, that was the main reason why I done that. And all of them also have, in case you want to add weight, they will have a 3-inch set screw that will come with them. I'm just running a short one because I'm not adding any weight to the front, but they will all have, for the weight side, a 3-inch set screw. So if you do want to add weight and everything, you don't have to worry about trying to find one.
Oh yeah,
because it's aggravating to find one.
Tell them what the website. What's the address of the website?
It's Merritt Archery Designs. You can find it on Facebook. There's a couple of groups, the Merritt Outdoor Archershack page. I plan on posting the website within the next couple of days. I got to do a couple of test runs on it, make sure everything works smooth, and then
But it's cool. I mean, you can go on there and say, hey, I want this length with this color cap, this color bow jacks and weights and blah, blah, blah. Basically, exactly what you want. And if you can't
Yep.
figure it out, it's got on there, hey, contact us. And you can say, hey, here's what I'm looking for. What do you think I should do? And Ryan can point you in the right direction. But they look good. They really do.
They do.
And I know Ryan's been working on this for a while, and it's finally starting, like at the beginning of the public seeing them and everything. So I think it's about to take off. But definitely check it out. I'll put some links down in the description, and you'll see it posted on Facebook and this sort of thing. But definitely check them out. If you're local, you'll see them on a few bows at Kiwi Bowman and XYZ or whatever. So, give us some feedback. Give Ryan some feedback. Say, hey, I'd like to see whatever. But I think you got a good thing going. While we're on Ryan's, while we're on talking about Ryan, I told him he's selling this bow, and I was like, sit it up here and we'll talk about it because somebody might want it. He's got a TRX, first generation TRX, just put new strings on it. It's pretty slick looking. It's even got a little green stripe in the grip that kind of matches the whole setup. I don't know the specs. You can tell them the specs and all that good stuff.
It is a 38, 60 pounds, 30-inch draw. I think it's the 70. Was it the 70V or whatever mods on it?
I got
I
you.
believe it's what it is. Then the Hampsky fall away.
Heck yeah. What kind of number are you looking for?
With the rest and the new strings, I'd like to try to get 850.
It's a sharp looking bow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in good condition. So definitely, if you're interested, I'll put the Merritt Outdoor group or something in the description. You can holler at Ryan and tell him you want it. But it's a good looking setup. It's a good looking bow. I wrote down a couple questions. Oops, I keep hitting the microphone. That people had randomly asked. Somebody said, basically explain, we talked about this a little bit the other week, explain how a bow warranty works. And I think more what they're asking about is some people, when we do warranty work, think, I guess like a car dealership, if something breaks, you go get it fixed and it's free, and like the GM or whatever pays them to fix it. But it's not really the same with a bow company, with any bow company. Like, let's say you come in with a cracked limb, and generally one of two things will happen. Either, they'll send us completely free limbs, or they'll charge us shipping sometimes, which is only like $20 or whatever. But either way, no bow company pays any shop to fix something. So like, generally our rule of thumb is like, if you bought it from us, we're going to take care of you. But if you're just some random guy off the street, we're going to, according to what we're doing, you know what I mean? But we're going to charge you $20 or $50 or whatever, according to what we're doing. But we've had a very few people kind of get pissy about it, and it's like, we don't get paid from the manufacturer to fix this. You know what I mean? It's just like, we're just the middleman, more or less.
And like some crossbow companies out there, Barnett, for example, they want you to contact them through their website. We had one come in a couple years ago. I called Barnett, and they was saying it was going to be like $250 for us to get the limbs, but if the customer sent the bow back in, it was free.
Yeah, some weird random stuff. And we've had other random crossbow companies that, like, the customer can get the limbs sent to them for free, but then you just need to bring them to us or whatever shop and have them put them on for whatever they charge. So,
Yep. I brought a Barnett to y'all a couple months ago. Same thing.
It's just weird how in the crossbow world's a little different than the bow world. Because it's like a Matthews. We're not a Matthews dealer. We can do anything to a Matthews, but like, I can't call them and say, hey, I need a set of cams or limbs or whatever, because we're not a dealer. So you'd have to go to, like, you crack a limb on a Matthews and it's registered to you got to go to a Matthews dealer. And I'm hearing more and more chatter about, because people will buy a bow, not register it because they know they can sell it a year later and say it's unregistered. But like, I'm hearing more and more talk about this happening. And let's just go back to Matthews. Let's say it gets sold in South Carolina from the original dealer, but then like a year and a half later, some guy in Oregon cracks a limb and I've heard people saying that these companies are starting to push back and say, well, why is it in Oregon when it was sold in South Carolina and we don't know if we're going to cover it, you know? So I think you'll see more and more of that because people have figured out basically don't register the bow unless something happens, you know?
Yeah.
Is any of the warranties transferable on a bow?
Not anymore.
The last one to give that up was who?
Obsession.
I
think 2015 or 16. Anything before 15, 16 was transferable.
Gotcha.
I can't remember. Was it Expedition or Athens?
I know New Breed was big on that when they were around, and I don't remember who else. Obsession for a while, and I don't know. But I figure it was a cool thing, but they got a little bigger, and probably eventually it's like, okay, we can't keep doing this. But I understand the whole. I mean, honestly though, bows these days rarely have an issue. I mean, I remember like in Bucks and Bass days, you know, there was a good bit of warranty work going on. Now, you know,
it's very rare.
Something that's not a dry fire or a user problem, like you rarely see it. I mean, I can't even think of. Shoot, I don't even know. We had a Bowtech last year that had a few things going on, but it was nothing that crazy.
Yeah.
Prime, like we hadn't hardly had anything. Bear, have we ever had Bear crack a limb?
I don't think we've had one that we've sold. I think we've had some come in with cracked limbs.
I got you. But it's pretty. They got it figured out.
And on the warranty deal, you know, a lot of bow companies now only keep parts on hand for, let's say, 5 to 8 years now.
And that's weird because there was a time I could call PSE, for example, and get stuff from a good 10, 20 years back, and then it seemed like it was right before COVID hit. I called about a bow that was only like 6 or 7 years old, and they were like, nope, we don't have any parts, ain't gonna make any parts. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I kind of understand in a way because, like, you can't keep 30, 40, 50, whatever's going in, you know, years worth of parts. I think Matthews still does, but other than them, I don't know of anybody else. I know we called, I think, about something for a Bear one time, and they didn't have it, but it was an old one.
Yeah.
And then Prime has only really been in the game for about 10 years, so they probably still got everything. So I don't know. PSE, they kind of, about 5, 6 years, started backing up.
I noticed that they started putting limited lifetime warranty on some of the cards and stuff instead of, you know, used to it was just like lifetime warranty. But now they started putting limited.
Yep. But it's to be a bow manufacturer, and then, you know, I'm sure each manufacturer occasionally has duds, like I mean, I don't want to name them, but I can think of several bows over the years that, like, we know this bow's had limb trouble, or we know this bow's had this or that trouble, and it's like, that would suck. Because, I mean, I know they put a lot of testing into a bow, but they, you know, to come out with new stuff every year, you can only test it so much. So all of a sudden they all start cracking limbs, and it's like, oh God.
Yep.
But somebody had asked about basically our suggestion on setting a Peep sight, but for how to get it right when you're shooting a bunch of different yardages, I guess is the way they had said it. Because, like, I was telling somebody in here a while ago, I'm bad about just quick setting my Peep sight, but then, like, I'll get to shooting 50, 60, 70 yards, and it's like, this ain't comfortable anymore. So then I'll, like, move it down or whatever. So I might be a little scrunched up at 20, but like 40, 50, I'm comfortable. And then if I shoot a lot longer, then it's not like below my jaw or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's hard. Let's say like this bow, if we were going to just randomly set it up, we don't even know where 20, 30, 40 is going to end up at. So like you about just got to put it in and set it, tune the bow. And then once you get to shoot and say, oh, this is a little, you know, and start fine tuning it a little bit, you know.
Something I've been doing is just leaving my peep untied until I'm fully comfortable. Move it up, move it down.
If you're taking a bow to tack and knowing you're going to shoot out to like 120, like you don't want to be, you know, like crazy, but at the same time, you don't want 20 to be so crowded that it's uncomfortable. So it's like, you just got to fine tune it. There's not like a super precise way of me saying do this. It's just, you know, tie around it so it don't fly out. Go ahead and get everything tuned and set up, and then start tweaking it once you kind of get an idea where your yardages are going to be. So that's about all I can tell you. But I don't know how many times I've tied mine in and then started playing with it and been like, I think I need to move this. And then, of course, you got to do another sight tape and all that stuff.
Yep.
Somebody asked why they changed their release and their paper tune went bad. Why did that happen?
It's just different depending on what kind of release you went to. You know, trigger release, index release. I was struggling with my bow the other week, paper tuning it, and I swapped releases just because I could feel something wasn't right. Changed over to one of my old releases, and paper got, tear got better. It's just different. Like your strap could be, you might not have your strap just tight, tight.
Well, I know one time Rodney he was shooting a single caliper Little Goose and then went to a handheld, and his paper tune changed, but it was basically because he went from a single caliper to a handheld with basically a hook holding the loop. So the way the loop come off and briefly torque the loop or string or whatever, I think was what affected it. But there's a lot of times you won't see it, but sometimes you do. There's if you got a double caliper versus this versus that, even the stand releases, the ones that had the backwards hook. I seen one guy one time, his change when he went to the stand. It's just the way it releases that loop, and the longer the loop, the probably less effect it's going to have, because you can put a little torque into it without affecting the bowstring. That's basically it.
Yeah. And length of the release too. That can affect a little bit shorter, a little bit longer. There's so many variables. It's just hard to say exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. The face pressure too from
Oh yeah. I didn't even think to say
handheld
that.
to a caliper.
The way the string kind of runs across your nose or face and this and that and the other. What shoots are coming up locally?
I don't think, like 3D wise, I don't think there's nothing till kind of like towards the end of April.
Gotcha.
I think locally.
We got they had the R100 last year. Ryan went
last week.
Said there was a good crowd there. And definitely check it out if it comes to your area. Just there's not like knock times or anything like that at the R100, so it can kind of get backed up. We were talking about that a while ago.
Yeah, it's definitely one to go shoot for fun.
Yeah. I mean, where else can you shoot a giraffe?
Yeah.
And then get a 10-foot ladder out to get your arrows out. But TAC's coming up in Tennessee here soon. Got a few local 3D shoots that'll be ramping up. Kiwi Bowman and Tab and that sort of thing. We're going to start our little Thursday night shoot soon. Hopefully sooner than later we'll have like specifics on that. What else? What's the next ASA? I'm trying to remember. I should have looked all this up before I started talking about it.
It may be next weekend because I think it's either the weekend before Easter or the weekend after Easter because I think they shoot 2 in April.
Gotcha. What about the Shot IQ man? I can't think of his name, but randomly he pops up on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I was like,
Turner,
because his son won Vegas
and Lancaster
and all this stuff, and so that put him on the map. So I watched a little clip of the Joe Rogan thing, and I mean I didn't know anything about the guy, but he was like basically a high level SWAT sniper and all this, and he was telling a story about kind of how Shot IQ came to be and him being in all these high pressure situations. So I've been meaning to research the Shot IQ and all that more, but I know his kid won Vegas and like put him on to me. I'd never heard
15,
of him.
I think, or something like that.
So whatever he's teaching obviously works.
I think he competed in the pro division.
Something like that. Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about him. If y'all do, I'd love to, or you got any cool articles or whatever, I'd like to read it. Cause at least around here, he wasn't a known person until when the Vegas win happened and all this other stuff. And it's like, who's this guy? And then he pops up on Joe Rogan and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I know he was, one of the things he was talking about was not setting your shot down and continuing to pull through it.
Gotcha.
Which is something I was always told not to do. Set it down if you can.
Yeah.
But he's talking about that. So
he must have it figured out.
Yeah.
Somebody had emailed and asked why are they getting a bullet hole, but their center shot is way off. And that could be a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
My main thing, we talked about it last week, would be, shoot at like 20, shoot at like 60 or 80, and make sure your arrows are not slowly stepping off to the left or right, because that's the sign that your center shot's all jacked.
Yeah.
But I would ultimately figure out how to get that back in the center, whether it be shimming or I don't even know what bow you got, but
yeah,
you could play with yokes, or you could shim, or you could do all kind of stuff. So I guess we need more information, but it could be a bunch of stuff. But just gut feeling is if you shoot at 20 and you shoot at a long range, let's say your center shot's to the left, way out to the left, it's probably going to start shooting further left the more you back up. So, I mean, it could just be a spine issue. It could be all kind of stuff.
On the walk back tuning, I've been meaning to go back and watch that video that y'all have made. Whenever you make your first shot at 20, you don't adjust your sight or anything like that. You just start stepping back and still aiming at the same spot, right? And just watching.
Yeah. I'll do is shoot like super close, like 5 or 6 feet. And I may move my sight. I want to be hitting like a plumb line at a couple feet, and I'll get my sight to hit it. But then when I get to like 20 or 30 or wherever I'm going to go back to, you don't adjust anything, and you just kind of make sure they're all doing the same thing. So like if they're all hitting an inch left suddenly at 20, well, that tells me I need to move my rest over. But I think some people have got mixed up, and they'll move the rest over to where it's hitting the line at 20, but then they don't go back to 5 or 6 feet, and they've actually moved it too far, because then they go back to 5 or 6 feet, and it's still doing the same sort of thing. So you just barely tap it over and then do the whole process again, go back to 5 or 6 feet, get your sight back to the center, come back to 20, and it takes a few times.
Yeah.
And really the further back, the better, start really close, but then if you can go to 20, 30, whatever, wherever you can shoot real consistent, because we'll have people come out here and want us to do it, but like they'll hit left of the line, right of the line. It's like, all right, we can't really even do this because you are all over the place. But that's newer shooters mostly.
Yeah.
But that's to me the trick. And then like I feel like bear shaft tuning has got a lot of whatever in the last few years, and I'm not completely against it, but I'm not also completely. I don't bear shaft tune my bow, I guess I should say, because like
I don't either.
I want it to be right and I know there's so many variables and this, that, and other, but what I've seen out here with average Joe that walks in and says, "Hey, can you help me bear shaft tune my bow?" Sure. They have such an inconsistent grip. The arrows are not even doing the same thing. Like it's like we're gonna have to work on you way before we need to work on what's going on with this bear shaft situation. So I guess that's why I don't put a whole lot of effort into bear shaft tuning, because average Joe is all over the place. That comes in and has read or watched some video saying do this. But at the same time, if you've got the time and a half day to kill and whatever, by all means get out there and do it, because you can tweak so much stuff with spine and with center shot and with shims and all this stuff, and get it perfect. So I'll never forget, we were at, I don't remember if it was Kiwi Bowman or down at Jeffrey shooting this state indoor thing one time, and a guy had broke an arrow or something, and all he had was a bear shaft. He said, "I guess for my 5th arrow, I'm just going to shoot this bear shaft." And I thought, oh, God. Luckily, it flew good for him. But I thought, in my head, I could just see that thing, hitting the target crooked or doing something crazy. And anyway, but that's all the questions I had. I'm trying to think of what else is going on soon. Turkey season around here will be today's Youth Day. It'll be starting up before long. We just started heating up here in South Carolina. It was freezing this past week. Now we're in the mid 80s. It's crazy. Yep. What else? What do we need to tell them about Ryan? I'm trying to think of a good story. Before we get into funny stuff. Y'all have probably seen, if you follow any Merritt stuff at all, Ryan has a son named Easton, and that little joker can shoot. How old's Easton?
7. Yeah.
Let me think.
It's going by quick.
The little man can shoot. He's in one all kind of state shoots and all this random stuff. And it's funny because even like several bow manufacturers have shared his pictures to their big pages. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think if he'll stick with it,
he's done really good.
Yeah,
for sure.
Might have us something going on here.
I hope.
He'll be the next Vegas champion.
Maybe so.
Wasn't like about a year ago, roughly, the infamous beach trip?
Yeah.
There was like 29 people piled into a hotel room. And then
it is a video that is still somewhere on
in the universe.
On Devon's. Yeah.
I just remember that. That was funny.
Yeah. Be careful at Myrtle Beach. That is for sure.
There's some sketchy stuff down there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Devon made, a couple thousand on drugs. And I'm kidding. But no, that was a funny story. There's always like archery crazy stuff. We were talking stories the other day.
Oh man.
One of the funniest ones that sticks out to me though was I was telling stories one time at some shoot, and the lady was like, "Y'all are like us. We woke up at an ASA shoot, and the cops were outside the hotel room, and somebody was dead in the room beside us." And I was like, "Woo, okay, we ain't had that happen."
Yeah, we ain't had that happen
That
yet.
would be quite the story right there.
Yeah, we've had some.
We ain't killed nobody.
No,
but we next time Partain is on here, we need to talk about his first overnight experience. When we went the Howard Johnson, we pulled up. He had the whole family, and they getting out of there as we getting there. And he's like, "Hell no!" I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "We got outlets sparking with bare wires out of the walls and pills chopped up in the floor." And we were like, "Do what?"
Yeah.
And then we'll have to tell that when he's on here. But
yeah,
there's always something happening. I don't know if it's just archery people or just me or both. Maybe a little both.
The thing I've learned through the years is don't let Jeremy pick the hotels.
It can't be that bad.
Yeah, we learned don't let Devon pick them.
Oh yeah, that by far.
Yeah, that.
Devon's. I remember him messaging me and being like, "I found a $42 a night something," and I was thinking, "Ooh." And then later he's like, "Ryan and his family's on the way too," and I was thinking, "Y'all gonna be in crack town."
Yeah,
and it was. It was not good.
Man.
Nah, I think the only bad hotel experience, not bad experience, but was the Hojo. Because we also had the mystery door in our room.
All these random doors that lead to God knows where. And I was waiting to like wake up in the middle of the night and have some prostitute standing there or something. Which that's another story. Not on us.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll tell it.
Yeah, we don't need
I don't want to get nobody in trouble.
Yeah.
But let's just say I had took a fella to a shoot several hours away, and he basically went missing in the middle of the night and couldn't be found the next morning, and then showed back up with an Asian lady the next morning. And God, I won't tell anymore. I don't know what I can and can't say because I definitely don't want to get this fella. This fella's like married and all this now, and I don't know what I could get him into, so I don't want to. But
yeah.
Good God, leave it to me to get in the middle of all this stuff.
Oh man, yeah.
We really need to get. They hadn't been around lately, but
the sea otter and the bobcat.
There's two brothers, one we call sea otter and one we call bobcat. And I'll just start the conversation by saying they were down in somewhere and a alligator was going across the road, and they thought it'd be cool to go ahead and just tape his mouth shut and bring him back to the house. So they kept this thing in their bathtub for about a year out here at the marina and would take him out and walk him and all this stuff. And they long story short, the neighbors finally were like, this gator's getting quite large.
Yeah.
And he's going to attack somebody. So the DNR breaks in one night and takes the gator and finds him like 10 grand a piece and all this stuff. But anyway, we need to get them on here because A, they could tell that story a lot better.
Yeah.
And B, from archery shoots, there is so many things that have happened.
Yeah.
It would be worth hearing firsthand. But one,
if we do that one, we're going to have to put a parental discretion advisory on there.
It would be bad. Like if we could get them together with Devon,
oh man,
it'd be a match made in heaven. But we not to go into the good stories, but one time Sea Otter had went with us to one of the ASA shoots. It might have been one of the first times we went to Augusta, and we had a pile of people with us.
We had a crew.
We had like 7 cars lined up that morning in the hotel parking lot. I mean, it's still dark outside. I don't, because we had to be like on the range at what, like 7:30 or something.
We had to be at our stake at 7:30.
So we're about to, well, basically we are pulling out, and somebody was like, "Has anybody seen Anthony?" And I was like, "Oh God, I forgot he was even with us." But luckily he had drove, so I start calling him, and finally he picks up, and he's like, "Oh." I was like, "Are you awake? We leaving? I completely forgot about you." And he was like, "Oh, I'll be there in a minute." And anyway, somehow he still basically pulled in right behind us. I guess he dove out of the bed and just rolled.
Yeah.
But man, we could have a whole podcast on things that have happened on our archery travels. Yeah, I mean,
oh man,
there's very few where there's nothing that's happened. Like the R100 story with the mentally handicapped fella. I don't think I could tell that.
We can't tell.
I mean,
that.
We might go to like prison or something.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what you can and can't say without getting. Well, I mean, we can say whatever, but like, I don't know.
We like to broke Jeremy's legs because we were one of the first on the range, and they didn't have the ladder for the draft. So Jeremy got to be the lucky one that we hoisted up there to pull the airs.
Well, but before, how do I tell this story?
I don't think we go into
I'm on just teeny bit going to it. Me and TJ go down there to shoot. Me and him. Gonna be a nice Friday, and we end up. Some people come up wanting to shoot with us, and it was like, okay. And we didn't know it. Just to look at this fella, he looked normal. But he was mentally handicapped, and I won't go into the couple stories, but we get to the draft, and he gets up on somebody's shoulders, but don't understand what he's up there to do. So then they were like, let's put you up on their shoulders. I'm like, I'm 210 pounds, man. Anyway, well, they get me like this angle, and I'm like, God, I ain't about to break my femur. So I finally get up there and get them arrows out, and then we just had a day that day. Yeah. I feel bad for people, though, because just like a guy at Kiwi last year, I was going to film some shots and all that, and most people don't care to be on camera or whatever, and I tried to tell that fellow last year, hey, but he couldn't hear.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't mentally handicapped. We were like, I was like, hey, buddy, I'm Jeremy. And I looked at TJ. I was like, hey, I'm Jeremy.
And we didn't know. Well, at
the time I thought something was wrong with this guy. But then we got, hey, buddy. And I was like, I'm going to film a few shots. And he's like, do what? And I'm like, okay. But anyway, we've had a few doozies.
Oh, yeah.
If we need like what do you call them things? Not the OnlyFan. the one where you pay.
Is it Twitch?
No.
I know what you're talking about.
Hell.
Patreon.
Patreon. We need a $2 a month Patreon, uncensored, and be like, we're gonna tell all. Because there's a couple of these stories that would be great, but I can't use the particular language that I need to use to tell them. So we'll have to wait and figure it out.
We might have to pay people.
Yeah. But I mean, we ain't showing no wieners.
No.
I don't think. Are we?
I don't even know what a Patreon is.
Anyway.
Or patron.
I don't even know what else to talk about.
You done got me thinking of something back on the stories and everything. Poor Mikey, God rest his soul.
We had some stories of Mikey.
Yeah. He didn't like bridges.
Yeah, we got stories, and he had so much trouble. We took Mikey to the R100. He's a big fella, and put him into atrial fibrillation. He was literally in the hospital for 4 days right when we got back. And they ended up having to shock his heart back into rhythm because we walked him so much. And he had to wear a safety vest thing that would shock him if his heart got crazy for a month or two. It was crazy stuff. Anyway, I need to write all this down because I'm gonna start forgetting stuff.
We just need to write a book.
But I think the Devin Ryan family Myrtle Beach trip is a good one too.
It is.
Yeah.
They stayed like 29 of them to the room. A bed collapses middle of the night. Poor their
Had
daddy.
cigarette butts under the bed.
Yeah, their daddy's there in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, what an experience.
Yeah, we packed up and left early.
I remember Devin, he was mad. He was texting me all this stuff, and I was like, this is great. This is great.
It didn't happen to us for a change.
Thank God. Remember the time it was a R100? We took a decent crowd.
Yeah.
Mikey and Joey was staying together, and we went to the Japanese buffet. And you all know how the Japanese buffet is.
Especially with the shrimp sauce.
Yeah, you know, it ain't gonna be long.
Yeah.
Well, we had walked over there, or they had, I think, and they got to sweating, and Joey said they got back to the room, both of them about to just blast. And Joey went into the bathroom first. He said when he opened the door, said Mikey was just drenched, standing there like, please hurry up, please hurry up. And then that's the one where he said Mikey get to snoring real loud, and then all of a sudden would just stop breathing. And Joey said he'd sit up and be like, "Oh my God, the man's dying," and then all of a sudden he'd start breathing again. But, man, we've got him.
I got one good story that was on video in here.
Oh God!
It's when I had the Matthews, the V3 derail on me, and I shot, and you threw a fistful of bolts on the ground right after I shot. About had a heart attack.
Oh, me.
I love doing that.
I was
I
a nervous wreck at that point.
I started doing that at Bucks and Bass to people, and the one time a guy like basically dropped his bow and like ran almost. He dropped it and was like, "Oh my God, oh my God!" And I was like, "What's going on?" It was an old bow. He's like, "It's coming apart." But
Do you think
I like it when the like super technical hoity-toities come in here. Like, I've adjusted my third axis screw to the 16th of the and then we'll go out there and we'll be doing whatever and shoot, and I'll throw a bolt or two, and they will completely lose their mind. And sometimes I tell them I did it, and sometimes I don't. You know.
Do you think it's karma coming back to bite us in the butt on some of these stories?
No. But yeah, we need an uncensored 2-hour video that we could use any language needed. And, you know, we had I'm not going to tell this because I don't know who all listens to this thing, but one time I plowed into a 1981 Mercury Cougar because we got stuck in the mud and then suddenly caught asphalt, and then the door wouldn't even open on that car.
Oh, me.
The poor little lady was in there cooking hot dogs. And I had to go in there and say, "Hey, whose car is this?" And she's like, "It's mine." I remember she went to open the door and it was just like, and I was like, "Ma'am, you're going to have to crawl through the window." And I was sitting there thinking, oh God, TJ's just still sitting in the car. Like, but, yeah, there's been some experiences.
We shot the arrow on the balcony on that trip.
Yeah.
That sounded like the 22 mag going off when it hit the target.
I'll tell you what we need to do. This would be a good one I'm going to give to Devin. We used to shoot shaving cream bottles in the range at Bucks and Bass, and it would damn cover the whole place in white. But that would be something good for him to do. I don't know where we're at, but I remember one time I had to get a mop
I was about to
off
say.
the ceiling that blew up so bad.
Yep.
But a lot of times, if you hit it just right, it would blow up and kind of travel a little bit as it blew shit out everywhere.
I just remember that one that got the ceiling to that joker. I was like, oh, it's coming back.
That I need to tell him about. And also, you can take like a fat arrow, like a 27 sized arrow, and put coffee creamer in it, like the powdered coffee creamer, and like have somebody, if this is the end of the arrow, have somebody, you need to take a lighter and basically make it to where it'll blow a big flame out. Have somebody hold it in front of it, and you blow that out of there, and it'll shoot a flame past TJ from me. Just
Do not try this at home.
we had this slightly mentally handicapped coworker that somehow figured this out.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what really happened now that I think about it. He was like, Jeremy, do you know coffee creamer is flammable? And I was like, no, and don't really care. So the more this conversation goes on, I start ticking, and I'm like, well, what if we put the coffee creamer in this arrow, and I aerosoled it out, and you held the lighter? And he's like, holy shit. So the first day, it was, I won't mention his name, but he was a hairy fella. And it singed every bit of hair off his arm that first time, because I mean, it scared me that first time I did that. It rolled a flame inside that store, and I was like, oh my God. So we did that, showed a bunch of people, but we did it outside, or I did after that.
Yeah.
And then I tried it in here one day, but I bought the wrong kind of creamer or something. I couldn't get it to jive, but
Yeah.
that is quite the experience. It will blow out a flame, but you gotta get the flame, I mean, a good ways out in front of the arrow so that the particles are spreading out or whatever when it hits it, and then it does. But that was an experience. Also, another coworker back then, I don't remember what he was doing, but somehow it boiled down to him putting, out of one of our burners, we used propane things to get a tip out or whatever. He filled up a bottle with it and was doing something. And I was like, man, poke a little hole in that bottle and I'm going to light it. Well, he's like, okay. And I lit that thing and it blew up like you would not imagine. And I knew it was going to do that, but maybe not to the degree it did. And I just knew this particular fella, and you never knew this guy. I'll tell you who it is when we get off here.
Okay.
I thought he'd lost all his fingers because it sounded like a 45 went off right in front of you. You know what I mean? And it blew him onto the ground. When I opened my eyes back up, it was like a blue shockwave came out of this bottle. When I opened my eyes back up, he was on the ground doing like this. And I was like, I won't say his name. Have you got all your fingers? Have you got all your fingers? And he was going, and I just knew this guy, something was a little wrong with him, kinda, but he was okay. But that was the second owners of Bucks and Bass, and his grandpa came running and was like, what in the hell happened? And then he called his name and he was like, you stupid SOB. And I was thinking, my God. Some of the stuff this guy had done, though, was about like the other guy. I don't want to call any names here, but just dumb. But I don't remember how. I just remember he agged it on whatever he was doing that day, and I was like, "Put a hole in that thing. I'm gonna light it up." And he's like, "Yeah," you know. And he's not really mentally handicapped. At the time, I thought maybe he was, just because the way he acted. I really did think something was wrong with him, but like not really, really wrong with him, just a little bit off. But I don't know whatever happened to him. I guess he's alive.
Next time you see Devin, there's a story with him and a potato gun where for some reason we thought it was a good idea to test out putting pure oxygen.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Similar situation. A PVC end. We got real elaborate with these potato guns where we was shooting a water tower from across Highway 11 with a potato gun. I mean, they was moving.
Oh my God.
You know, it was bad idea. We put straight oxygen in it and it blew up. His hand looked like hamburger meat for a couple months. It was bad for sure.
I feel like we could potentially get like the Merritt brothers on here and just tell story after story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
But there again, we'd have to do something because.
Yeah, it would have to be on our OnlyFans because it would be like who knows what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We got a few good ones.
I've heard a couple situations, and it's a wonder him in particular is still alive.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Some fun ones.
I feel like we really hadn't talked about anything.
No.
I guess we'll wrap her up. But no, all kidding aside, I'll put some information about these stabilizers in the description.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need some, holler at Ryan, and he'll get you fixed up. And what, like, rough, if somebody orders one, how long does it take to percolate it and get it to them?
So right now, I've got a few things just pre-made up. So roughly 3 or 4 days. The end goal is to have it where as soon as it's ordered,
Yeah.
I can have everything ready to go. So since I'm doing it per inch, where you can just, whatever oddball size or, whatever, I'll, cut the carbon pretty much as soon as I get it and have it ready to go. Try to have everything, multiple colors already done and everything. That way it's, throw it together, it's out the door.
What all color weights can you do?
Right now, it's just black, red, yellow, blue, green, orange. Working on getting my own powder coating stuff and everything set up.
You.
Once that gets rolling, I plan on being able to do, pretty much anything.
Yeah.
And I've been looking into doing some anodizing for the ends also. So that's going to be something, I can get a few different colors and everything in that.
Oh, yeah. But no, they look good. They really do. They, I think they'll take off once people start seeing them and stuff. But if y'all want more info or whatever, check out the description and just let us know or let Ryan know about them, and we'll get them going. And if you're interested in his bow, same thing. I'll put a link down there. And of course, you might be watching this podcast a year later. It may be gone, but if this, it'll come out this week, and you can look at the date and kind of see whatever. Maybe I can put, once he gets rid of it, put it in the comments. Hey, it's gone. But
yeah,
sharp looking bow, good white. Got the green. I like the green stripe in the side plate. It's pretty slick. But y'all let us know if you got any questions or anything you want us to talk about next week. Thank you, Ryan, for being on here.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Thank you for letting me talk about my bars a little bit.
Oh yeah. They'll go. They'll be booming. We'll see y'all next week.
See y'all.
Y'all be safe out there. Do not shoot with us. Do not go shoot with us.
Don't travel with us.
God almighty.